welcome everybody. Let's skip the introduction. There is lots of things to talk about. I was told that the presentations are getting boring if there's too many slides and that we should do something more interesting. So how about we do live code challenge here? Somebody of you volunteering to do some coding on stage? Nobody? Okay, let's move on. Thank you. What I'll do instead, well, when I was originally putting those slides together, I wanted to have like 2-3 minutes intro summing up the last year, what we did, what we delivered, and so on. But when I was putting the things together, I realized there's just so much that we have delivered, and that so much that I want to share with you that instead of the 2-minute summary, I'm gonna take you on a little Magnolia safari and show you all those beasts, all those animals, all those things that we have delivered for you. It's gonna be really fast, it's gonna be really dense. There is lots of things I want to talk about. There is just limited time I have. I will most likely run a few minutes over, so please don't take it against me. I'll be also very shallow about the things I'm talking about. If you need more information afterwards, don't hesitate to grab any of the Magnolia folks in the room, or me, or email us, or call us afterwards, etc. Just get in touch. Last year at this conference we announced 5.4. Bill was already saying it, so I go through it very quickly. The 5.4 delivered the things which were supposed to help you, and they really did help you, to reduce the learning curve with Magnolia, to make you faster, to make it easier to develop the projects with Magnolia correctly and without having any errors. We also reworked the other thing, which was the REST client, that allows you now in templates directly to plug in the third-party services if you need to connect third-party services and just deploy them. Again, speed of development and the quality is the point here. The other thing which we delivered, like a third pillar of the release, was the campaign publisher. It's a tool which allows you for more complex updates of your website, for publishing marketing campaigns, to put the things together, push them out in one update without having to worry whether you forgot to update this image or that image, to basically bundle your updates and push them out. It's the enterprise only, but I really suggest you look at it if you didn't so far. And last but not least thing which was done in that release, which we delivered, was the probably biggest update of the cache since Magnolia 3.0, which actually introduced the cache. It was complete rewrite, and rather than using the traditional Magnolia page-based caching, what this thing allows you is to define the smallest fragments, smallest pieces of content on your page as the fragments with their own life cycle, their own time to live, and assemble the pages on the fly to get as much performance from the system as you can. So that's what we had with 5.4 in June, right? And what happened since? We were just sitting, drinking coffee, thinking about what we can do. But other than that, we also did lots of work with the light development that we delivered. As I said, it was really cool. It allowed you to do the things fast, to do them right, to do them from the file system without having to go in the user interface of Magnolia, etc. But there were some issues with it. There are so many different operating systems, so many different file systems. So when it worked, it was super cool. But there are many cases when it didn't work. We went back, reworked everything, optimized it for speed, make sure that it is actually reliable and you can use it all the time with peace of mind. Yet another thing that we released with 5.4 was the resources app. After releasing it, getting your feedback, we realized there are some certain things we could improve. We did improve them. It's now much easier to see where the resources are coming from, whether they are modified or not, which state they are in. You can filter out the resources coming from different sources, etc. The actions are also reworked there. Yet another thing which we did with 5.4, we retired the process resources. We thought when we give you the tool, when we give you the light development and allow you modify all your resources, be it templates, but also JavaScript, CSS, from the file system, nobody will really want to use process resources in Magnolia because you have so many other tools, Grunt, Gulp, you name it. There are tools which you can use for modifying those resources. Why would you do it in Magnolia? Apparently we were wrong, and you, as our customers, as our community, asked for it, and we happily gave it back to you. Internationalization. Before in Magnolia, there were two different models or two different types, two different systems for bringing in internationalization, for localizing your apps, localizing your templates, etc. What we did since Magnolia 5.4, we reworked that completely, and now everything is supporting the new, more flexible INTN mechanism. You can, just as with the other resources, with template definitions, with CSS, JavaScript, you can just get your resource bundles, you can drop them in the file system, in those light modules, Magnolia will pick it up. At runtime, on the fly, you can change it, it works. On top of that, what we did, we also separated all the language files which are coming with Magnolia into separate language bundles. So you have now one big file which contains all the languages, all the messages for a given language. And with that, you can simply just take the jar file, retranslate it if you don't like our default translation, or you can use it as example on how to produce your own bundle for any other language if you want to add another language. Decoration, fancy word. Let's call it external modification, right? What this thing allows you is to create the smallest snippets of configuration files and change configuration which resides elsewhere. For example, here, what I'm doing is in my test module, I have the file which is changing the label. It contains just this single label, and it's changing the pages up label, pages up list elsewhere. The benefits, if they are not obvious, you can separate your configuration changes. You still keep them local to your module. You are changing configuration elsewhere. At any given point, you can compare what the original value was. At any given point, you can remove your modification if you don't need it anymore. Or if you are moving that module elsewhere, you take that modification with you. You don't need to worry, oh, did I update that thing in the other module? No, it's there. It's all compact, bundled together. Again, all aimed in order to make you work with Magnolia better, with less errors, etc. UX improvements. OK, that one's going to be tough. I could have another 45-minute talk about all the UX improvements we did. So just few highlights. There is now the duplicate item action in all the apps. It also exists in the page editor, so you can just select whatever you want. You can duplicate it. Easy. We added support for placing of the components in the page editor. Before, every time it ended up at the button on long pages, that was a pain. Now you can choose top or button if you want. You have that hook there. You can add even your special placement, say, I don't know, the third from the button, whatever. In page editor, yet another improvement. After editing of the component, now that component stays selected, says located, says highlighted, in focus in the page editor. So again, if you're editing longer pages, you don't get lost. You know where you were, what you were editing. Also, if you haven't noticed before, actually I should use this thing, right? If you haven't noticed before, there is the icon at the beginning of the green bar, which tells you in that given page, that given component, was it modified, is it brand new, etc. So the status, same as you have status for the pages, you have status for the components in the pages. Beautiful. At least I like it. More things to go. JCR browser. Probably all of you know JCR browser, you used it in one way or another. What we did there, because people are writing their own apps, using their own workspaces, etc., we extended the browser to allow you to work it over all workspaces. We also added some extra filtering there. And we also changed, and that's not just here, that's everywhere, the status icons to make them visible also for people who are colorblind. Yes, sorry. Going too fast. Security, yeah. Again, we reworked completely security tools, allowing you now to, for any given user, for any given group or role, to see where their permissions come from, how they are assembled, what's inherited from where. So you can very easily figure out if this user is allowed to do something or not, and why. Again, very nice improvement. I like it, like everything. Log tools, again, rewritten completely. That's the simple update. But it allows you now to see also the size of the files immediately. You can browse them in there. And you can also, when you need to, sorry, it's just too bright so you don't see it, but there is a box here. And it allows you to basically write the text filter to filter out what you want to see from the list when you are setting the loggers. No more searching through the long list, right? You can filter, you can set it easy. So that would be what we had in the product. But that's not all. As you know, we also have number of connectors which we provide with the product itself. They are not bundled because not necessarily everybody would use all of them, but there they are, and we work on them as well. So what we did since the last year was we extended, updated, expanded the external forms and trades connector. Maybe you know it more under the names of those individual connectors for the different marketing automation tools. And if I was to summarize it, basically what they do is they allow you to manipulate the form data from marketing automation in various ways, display, submission, etc. They allow you, at least in certain cases, to also use the data in those marketing automation tools to personalize content in Magnolia and to feed content from Magnolia or behavior of user from Magnolia into those tools back to be recorded. One example for all is the IBM Marketing Cloud. As you see here, I'm defining some fields in the Marketing Cloud in Silverpop, and immediately those are appearing and being available as trades in my personalization. If there are any values recorded for it, I can use also those values to choose the value for that given trade, and I can use it to steer the thing. That's available also for the others. Yet another connector which we have, the sort of special, the Magnolia DAM S3 connector. It's the DAM provider. So it allows you to plug in external asset management in Magnolia. Some of you might have seen it last year. I was showing it in the workshop before the conference. We had the alpha version. So now it's final, it's out. If you have big assets which you don't want necessarily to have in Magnolia, use this. You can store it in S3. It's very easy, very cheap. If you need to share the assets you put in Magnolia with external system, or if external system is feeding the data for you and it's capable of storing it in there, use it. You can just very easily share the data that way. Magnolia will see it even if the data are contributed by other system. Advanced search, or Solar Enterprise, Solar Search. Many of you have outgrown the capabilities of built-in JCR search. We know that. We try to support you as much as we can. And for this, we are providing the external search module or the Solar Search module. We updated this module significantly over the year. It now supports the latest Solar. It supports the federation. It supports different kind of indexes. So you can also have the indexes for protected content for special groups of people, etc. You can do boosting, you can do lots of stuff. By the way, at the bottom of each of those, I try to put the link there to documentation or marketplace or location. There is also there in the corner hidden the note where this module is available, whether it's Enterprise, Enterprise Pro, or everywhere. Yet another connector, Connectcard. How many are you familiar with the Apache Connectcard? It's the e-commerce engine which we have supported for quite a while. Here we have just added the support for the latest version which is provided by the project. It is a very nice showcase of how you can at very fine-grained level mix the content from e-commerce and in Magnolia. It allows you to go for different types of pages, for different components. They pull in their components into Magnolia via some special loading mechanism. It's a really cool showcase if you look at the code. Google Analytics visualization, right? You can never have enough of the analytics info. So what we did is we added in-page information about the analytics. How is that page faring? Is it going up? Is it going down? Out of the box, we provide those two page views and the exit rate. You can configure your own information, whatever you want. It shows you the trends. Not only in-page, you can also see it in the workbench for all the pages without having to go in the page. And to make it even better, you can also configure whatever charts you want from the Google Analytics and expose them to your editors. They don't need even access to the Google Analytics. Through Magnolia, you can just give them read access to show them just those charts, nothing else. Whatever you configure for them. Cool, huh? OK, so to make it even better, we also have some Magnolia solutions. I don't know how many of you know about the solutions which we have. It's the thing which we had around for a couple of years. It was not greatly advertised. Those solutions are sort of special modules and connectors which we have written for or in collaboration with some partners, with some clients to cover their special needs. And because they are written for the specific use case, we keep those solutions separate. They are available. If you ask for them, we can give them to you, but we retain closer control of those solutions in order to find out how niche that thing is. Is it big enough in order to be considered for inclusion in the product, or is it still really very small thing for this 1-2 clients? But there are some very interesting things in there. One of the solutions which we delivered over the year is the eventually consistent publishing, which changes the publishing mechanism. Instead of pushing everything in one transaction, we are using the messaging queues. Each of the instances to which you push has its own queue. It can consume content, receive the content at whenever it's convenient for that instance. So say you have some cold backup instance which is running just a couple of hours a day. You can use this to push the content to that instance. You have QA environment which you want to update just once a week with every content. You can use this to push those updates through there. You can also use it for the public instances as it's shown here. If you do use it for public instances, you also need to make the load balancer, which is able to talk to the messaging and knows which instance is up to date with the latest content and which should be taken out and ignored. But it's there. Another solution which we have is the corporate blocks. It's not your classic block module. It's basically turned around. There are still individual bloggers. They can still write their own blog posts, etc. But they don't retain control over where on the website the blog post is published. That control goes to the editors, who can set up the rules or publish those pieces of content anywhere. They can just use it as any other content. There is a categorization which allows you to group the things around, like, I don't know, the guys at Atlassian. If you go at blogs.atlassian.com, you see there is the product, there is the services, solutions, whatever. There are like 4 categories on top, and this thing allows you to do exactly the same thing. On top of it, it also allows you to just aggregate content from elsewhere. You have some bloggers which post occasionally about your content. They don't want to post on your blogging platform. You can use this over the RSS. It will suck in their own posts. You can specify the filtering based on different tags, etc., and have resharing their post through Magnolia. One solution for collaborative teams. Again, it's a special use case. How to describe it? Imagine you are preparing some marketing campaigns for your website, right? Say you're working hard on the campaign for Valentine, and at the same time, because you're a big company, you have another team of editors which is working on campaign already for Easter, while the website is still running the normal content and you need to update it daily. Those 3 teams, basically the ones which is managing master and the 2 campaigns, they need to modify same content. It's very painful to do that normally. What we have here is the solution which allows you to configure multiple auto instances, and it takes this campaign publishing module which I was talking about earlier that was delivered with Magnolia 5.4 to next level. It allows you to selectively push the pieces of content from the master instance into those specific team-based auto instances. They can work on their content. When they are done, they can just push the content back. Once the content is received on the master, you just get notification on the master. There is an incoming package. It allows you to do the diff of the incoming package. If you like it, if you accept it, you can just merge it into your content. If not, you can just reject the change and let them work on it. Another thing which it adds there is the global tagging. So think of it like you can create snapshot of your whole configuration in time. Everything that you have at one point, not just versioning for single pages. You can create the complete snapshot of your whole configuration over all workspaces. It's a bit expensive operation, but you can do it if you want with this solution. Yet another one, I mentioned the accessibility before. We have published another solution together with one of our clients. They have lots of people who are actually blind, and they need to edit the content for Magnolia. Kind of challenging, right? What we did for them was we wrote this generic editor which shows you the structure of the page in the tree. That tree is actually optimized to work very well with the Braille readers. So if you are blind, you can work with the tree very well. You can see those different types of the content, well, feel those different types of content there. You can also, there is a search box here on top which allows you to search within the page that you have selected. So you can search for the content always only on the subtree. there is some special actions which allow you to modify, reorder the pages, edit the content, open the edit dialogues, etc. So it's basically bypassing the normal page editor in order to be accessible for those people. JS-based personalization, yet another solution that we have. Sometimes you need to plug in the personalization very quickly. You need to personalize for something because whatever reason, right? If you want to, you can use this solution actually to do it. You can even connect to the external services to get your personalization data, plug them in. It really is fast. It allows you to add whatever traits you want very quickly. There is, of course, a price to pay for speeding, and that's the performance that you pay, right? If you use it over the JavaScript, you are going to external service to retrieve the data about whoever is coming on your website to decide which variant to show him. The time lag to get that information is actually the price you pay for being able to add those traits quickly. But sometimes it's worth it. Time to market wins over the performance. Alrighty, another. You still awake, right? Google experiments. So what we did here is in this solution, we combined the Google Analytics experiments with Magnolia personalization. And now you can have experiments. For each experiment, you can configure which variants to show or which variants to choose from. And then let the Google experiments run this personalization, this selection for you, showing the different variants to different people, showing you the results and so on. But instead of having configured somewhere static HTML or whatnot, you can just use the different variants of pages in Magnolia, making it easier for editors to actually prepare those things. So that's where we are today. I hope you did not fall asleep. Maybe one thing for me, how many of you knew about all those things which I'm presenting, for whom it was boring and you didn't need to learn about it? How many of you knew at least about half of those things? Oh my, 2, 3 people. Gee. Here flies marketing team bonus, right? We need to do much better job there. Okay. I love numbers, so one last summary of that thing. In numbers, we did about 15 branch releases over the last 12 months. We did release over 220 modules for you. We provided you with 7 new solutions, resolved over 700 tickets, which were worth of 1,700 story points, whatever they might be. And that's about it. So, end of the tour, part 1.